Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Johnny. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing the electric focus video projector. Now, I want to mention that this product was indeed provided by Dicey Tech. This is the company that went ahead and sent me this projector. I believe they don't actually make the projector, but they do sell it on Amazon as the supplier. Now, this is a lower budget projector. I'm not going to expect the best thing out of it, but I have tested out several low budget projectors that have been pretty amazing for the performance and the price, and for the typical average user who's not really looking for the very best in projectors, but something that's okay and passable for watching movies, anime, and everything. So this one is a native 1080p projector. I hope that is true, that it is a 1080p projector. Usually when they're 1080p, the quality and the image tends to seem better in when you're actually watching the movie or so. So here's a little bit of the description of the technology. It has an LTPS LCD, color reproduction, 1080p resolution, keystone correction, highest resolution, power voltage light LED. Usually the LED projectors can be good. It really depends on what kind of tech they put inside of it. But some of the projectors can be good with LED. We'll just have to test it out to see if this is a good one. And it has electric focus and a 16:9 aspect ratio. So hopefully it is good. We're hoping it is good, because I've seen a lot of projectors. Some have not been really good, but this one kind of got my hopes up actually, because it does seem to promise 1080p. I believe this one is like around 150 or 100 or 200 in that price range. I think they have a coupon going on, so it's on sale at the moment. So if anybody wants to pick it up, and I'll give you my review. Usually I do light gaming tests like Mario Party or the Nintendo Switch, because in reality, I'm not going to be playing PlayStation 5 on a projector like this. However, it may be possible that you can play PlayStation 5 on a projector like this. Alright, so I like how the packaging comes in really well protected, to be honest. It was actually protected. As you guys can see, that's there as well. And it brings a manual. So this is actually one of the pretty cool manual actually. It actually makes it seem more better because it actually has a full colored manual. You see a lot of these lower end projectors don't even bring a manual, and this one really does bring warranty as well. It offers 2-year warranties. You can send your order number and you can register it. So that's actually pretty cool. For a projector of this kind for 2 years, that's pretty impressive. They probably will just send you a replacement. Alright, so as you guys can see here, it tells you enter your Wi-Fi. It does connect to the Wi-Fi. It has mirroring from the looks of it. And yeah, I don't think the iOS or the OS is really good, to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you guys, the OS doesn't look that good. I think it's mainly for mirroring. It doesn't really have Android, so I would recommend you have a Fire Stick or something. But yeah, tells you the instructions, everything, but overall I'm impressed. It has a manual and everything on there, so it's pretty cool. I think that's one great impression on this. I don't know what these cotton swabs are for. This is a first. I think this is to cleanse the lens if they get dirty, so that's a first to me. I've never seen anybody actually include these on a projector. So even though it's a lower end model, that's interesting, really interesting actually. All right, sorry. I didn't want to go to the back, but it does bring a controller. The controller doesn't look too bad. It's probably the typical RF controller instead of a Bluetooth controller, which might work just for whatever. Maybe turning up volume as well. Maybe when it's mirroring or something. And it brings an HDMI, so a lot of projectors don't even bring an HDMI nowadays. So I think that's pretty impressive. And you get your power cord, and you get the classic yellow, white, red cable that you can connect as well. I'm assuming if you want to like play retro consoles like your Nintendo 64. So that's kind of interesting. It brings a lot of accessories. So you're getting accessories. A lot of projectors don't bring accessories anymore. I've noticed that they just don't bring it. So yeah. All right, so it was really well protected, but however, this plastic here is kind of annoying to take off. Wow, I'm actually pretty impressed with the quality. As you guys can see, it doesn't look too bad at all, and it feels really good. It is plasticky, but it feels like really good plastic, high finish plastic, as you guys can see. And it has this cover on it as well for the lens. Okay, so yeah, the lens don't look bad either. I think this might be a high quality projector. In my opinion, it might not be a bad projector after all. I mean, if it even has this, I mean, it just looks good. And it has the cover for the lens as well, so it didn't get dirty. Now, that's something new on a projector. I haven't seen that in a lot of them. You got your area where you can put your power cord, and of course your HDMI slot, and you can put your USB 1 or USB 2. Usually, typically that is for video content. I assume you can play at least video content locally, and then your AV cables if you want to play retro consoles. So you got the pretty basic stuff and everything. And it also has a place, I think this is the place where you can mount it onto a tripod, which we'll probably be doing. Yeah, you can mount it onto a tripod. Yeah, I think this is the mount to the tripod. If you guys know, you can mount it on the tripod. I recommend you get a tripod, but I don't think it's necessary. It also brings some other areas, I think, that you'll be able to use it for mounting. I think this one helps for mounting, even with this one, if you want to mount it onto like a full setup. However, are you really going to want to mount it on a really nice projector dedicated room? I mean, it's there, so it gives you the option. I don't know what this is for. I'm not going to take it out because it's probably for something else. But either way, you can mount it onto a tripod. Definitely impressed by that. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to go and try this projector and see how the performance is. Alright, usually when I set up my projectors, I always keep it on a tripod. As you guys may know, I have a pretty big wall here that's over 150 inches. And usually for these kind of projectors, you want to project the image smaller. I think over 120 inches, maybe a little bit overkill for these type of projectors. So 120 or 110 should be a sweet spot if you want to get the best quality out of the projector. But as you guys can see on my setup, I have it on a tripod. It fits really well, and it seems to be in great condition. So as you guys can see, the projector is right there, and it's aiming to the wall. So I think that's about 120, probably even slightly even bigger in terms of quality. One thing that I want to mention is that I am actually kind of impressed by the light that it is projecting onto the wall, because I gotta tell you guys, this room in the basement in my movie theater room is really lit it up. So this is actually quite impressive that I can still see the image on the screen. However, as you guys may know, I'm going to turn off the light in order to see if I can actually make it better. One of the things that I noticed that the controller is very responsive. So I gotta say, even though you can't see it in the dark, the controller is very responsive. And I like the way it has the focus as well. You can focus it however you want. Like I said, I don't really recommend you actually have it all the way to the back or a big screen, because you're gonna lose the image quality. But overall, it does look pretty well, especially when you focus it in. The quality doesn't look too bad. You gotta play around with it and keep looking at the quality until you see something that actually is less blurry. But overall, it's pretty good. I think this is the sweet spot for me as well. And I actually hear the speakers are pretty loud as well. I didn't know it had speakers, but it does. You can change the wallpaper. It has speaker mode, sound and picture settings. Let's see what it has there. It has image mode. I would just leave it in standard, but let's see what light does. It doesn't really look much different. I would personally leave it in standard. You have color temp. You can put it in cool as well, and sound mode, music or movie mode. It's pretty basic stuff, and it's not bad. So despite the controller being RF or whatever, it's not even Bluetooth, I gotta say that it's really good. I mean, the controller is very responsive. I was impressed by that. That is my first thing about this. A lot of these projectors that are lower budget don't really have a good controller. But yeah, so I think I might put the image a little closer to the wall, because even though in the video it seems like this is a little image, as you guys can see there's plenty of space, believe it or not, in a room or where you're in a basic setting, this is a pretty big wall. And that's easily over 120 inches. It's not bad, but it does look good. I'm gonna put it a little closer to the wall to see how it looks more, to actually look at the quality. So I made the screen smaller and it does improve a little bit more on the image quality. So the image quality is overall fine if you put it in closer. I would definitely recommend, if you are not really have like a big wall, just go as close as you can and to get to the image size that you want. But overall this is fine. This is over, I think this is still over 120 inches. It's definitely bigger than a 77-inch TV, and if you're using it for your room, it's definitely a big major difference. But overall, yeah, the closer it is, the better the image quality. But overall, I think we're gonna leave it like that. I believe it's about, I don't know how many feet, maybe like 10 feet or 12, maybe even less feet away from the wall. But I think this is a perfect spot for the quality of the image. And it might be, if you put it even a little more closer, the image quality might be even a little better as well. So I went ahead and connected my NVIDIA Shield, which, if you guys know, in the projector world or in any type of media setting, the NVIDIA Shield is an absolute monster with projectors and as well as televisions. So as you guys can see, I already have the aim to the wall as well. As you guys can see, I got my image. And I wanted to see if you guys could actually hear the sound of the fan. Now, that's the only thing I really kind of don't like, that it really is pretty loud. It does sound pretty loud. I can hear it. It's super loud. I didn't think it was gonna be that loud, but you can definitely see it. Obviously, if you connect it to a speaker system, you're probably not even gonna notice it. A lot of people tend to complain about it, but I really don't. I think it's just fine, but it is a little louder than other projectors that I've tested out. Alright, so I went ahead and connected it to the NVIDIA Shield, and it seems that it definitely does work. As you guys have noticed, it does work with the NVIDIA Shield. And I am getting an image on the screen, as you guys can see. Everything is working. Now, what I want to check is the resolution, because I don't know if the resolution really is 1080p. We're going to check see if the resolution is 1080p. I can confirm it's 1080p and it goes up to 4K. I do not know how that works, but let's go ahead and put it in 4K and give it a try. I'm surprised it supports 4K, but I know this is not 4K quality. But it does support it, I guess. 30 hertz of 4K. I don't recommend it though. I really don't recommend it. I don't think you should use it. I think 1080p is the sweet spot for this projector. And I think that's the way you should stay with if you're going to use an NVIDIA Shield. And it's just going to look a little better with it. Alright, so one thing I noticed, it is kind of blurry. I'm not going to lie, it is kind of blurry. But that might be a little bit different when you're watching content. I am going to do two tests. I'm going to do one where it's closer to the screen as well. And that way we'll see different content and see if it looks good and in my eyes as well. Alright, we're doing an image quality test, and as you guys can see, the image does look pretty decent. It doesn't look too bad. I actually think it looks pretty good, especially on the animals. As you guys can see, if you're playing high quality content, it does look good. So overall, it's good. Now, one thing that I am not going to be testing out the audio, but I have to say the speakers aren't bad either. They definitely do not lag. If you see like different speakers that have lagged in the past, these don't feel like they lag, so they are pretty good. They're pretty decent, believe it or not. Overall, the quality does look pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and boot up some TV shows and movies to see how it actually performs when we're actually watching like a movie or something, to see if it actually looks good on the movie or any television show, because that's realistically, that's what you're going to be using this projector for, in order to watch like content. Probably the optimal way. It's still over 100 inches in terms of screen that you get in real estate on the wall. Still pretty big, depending on how big your house is or the wall that you're going to use. It's still pretty big. And you can definitely get away with the bigger screen as well, but I recommend the closer the better. And you still get a decent average size screen. I've seen setups where people who actually have their projectors not even covering the full wall, so it doesn't really matter. But overall, if you bring it in closer, it definitely does look better. All right, so you guys know that with every review, I always give my pros and cons on what I think about the product. One thing that I want to mention is that please do not expect this product to be like the expensive projectors, which are $1,000 to $2,000 to even $3,000. This is nothing high end. This is more of a beginner budget friendly projector for somebody who just wants to project a big image onto their wall and watch their content from Netflix or anime or whatever they need to do it for a situation. If they're out camping and they want to project a image bigger than their TV. A lot of people really won't care about the quality, to be honest, from what I notice when it comes to projectors, as long as they can see that big image. And if it looks decent, it will work for them, especially in the dark. All right, so my pros are that it's a cheap price. As I mentioned, this is the lower end projectors. These are budget friendly for people who are just wanting to try out projectors for the first time, and maybe later on in the future they want to upgrade. So the price is 219, but there is a coupon that I believe that brings it down to 160 or 170 around there in terms of the price range. And I have to say, comparing other low end projectors, this price is pretty decent for it because it does bring a lot of great features for a low end projector. So I would say the price is decent for the most part. And it compares to the market on Amazon with other projectors similar to this projector. Another thing that I liked about it is that this projector surprisingly had a great remote. I thought it wasn't going to have a great remote. I thought it was going to be really bad where it wouldn't pick up my signal from the remote. I have had other cheap projectors that did not pick up the signal, but this one didn't have any issues. I didn't even have to be in front of the projector to actually use the remote, so I could be far away from it and it was picking up the projector really well. So it actually did pretty well in terms of picking up the signal from the remote. However, the remote is mainly used for the volume and switching to the HDMI inputs, but overall I was impressed. I got a good remote. Another thing that impressed me about this projector that it brings a lot of accessories, the HDMI and the cables. It brought for AV, which like if you want to play retro in consoles, it actually brings those cables. So that's another thing that really did impress me. Now it does have decent speakers for what you're gonna use it outside, or if you're gonna use it for the typical stuff. I mean, the speakers are good. I mean, they're not gonna be any Dolby Atmos, but they're pretty decent. I would say for it to be included, I think it's always good to have a projector like these when they're lower end to have a speakers included because people aren't really gonna want to go ahead and buy external speakers. So it's good that it's included and it's pretty loud. It has a pretty loud sound. And it didn't really sound staticky like some certain products that usually sound staticky. This one didn't. The build quality is pretty good, and the reason why I say the build quality is good, it is still plastic. However, I did like that they had a cover for the lens so you don't damage it. So that's something I seen for the very first time on a cheaper projector. I haven't really seen any other projector bring a little lens cover, so I was surprised by that. I have bought like different projectors that are lower end and they don't even have that. Not even the expensive ones bring a lens cover. So yeah, that's pretty nice to see on there as well. It's small and portable, so if you know of certain case scenarios, if you want to put this in your room on a tripod or just want to put it somewhere or on the outside, it's really small and portable. You can take it anywhere. It's easy to carry and everything. Now for the cons, like I mentioned, it is on the lower end side of things, and this is pretty much expected with these type of projectors. I mean, this is lower end, beginner, budget friendly projectors. Don't expect anything too high quality on the image. You really won't notice it. It isn't the worst image quality that I've seen, but I mean, if you're an enthusiast and you like good quality projectors, don't expect it to be high quality. I like the 4K projectors or even the $500 projectors. It's good. It's good. I mean, yes, the image may seem a little blurry, but that's expected with these type of projectors. The other con that I noticed that it does not have a really good supported OS. I mean, it does have the settings and mirroring and everything, but in reality, you are just not really gonna use mirroring. So I just recommend that you use your Fire Stick or go ahead and use your Nvidia Shield, whatever you have, if you're gonna actually watch media on here, because I mean it's more of a lower end OS. It's not. It doesn't have any Android where you can use Netflix or anything. So I just personally just connect my Fire Stick or NVIDIA Shield, so that's a good thing. The other thing I noticed that the fan does make a little bit more noise. I mean, it's not really noticeable when you are actually watching a movie or a TV show. You're just gonna ignore it. You're not even gonna notice it because the sound will overpower it, especially if you have good speakers or if you're using the projector speakers. You're not gonna hear it. But it does make a little bit more sound than I've seen in other projectors. Maybe it's just mine that came like that, but it does make sound. If that's something that may bother you, it does make a pretty good amount of sound on the fan. But overall, it doesn't bother me when I put on with other stuff. So overall, I give it a 6 out of 10. It is a lower end projector. I cannot give it a 10 out of 10, but it is a decent. A 6 out of 10 is pretty decent. So, I mean, if you're looking for a market where you want to buy something cheap and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I think this is overall a pretty decent buy as well. It has a really good features. I mean, even the focus was actually pretty good. Trust me, I've seen other low end projectors that don't even have a focus feature, and this one does bring it on the remote, which is something that you might make your decision based on. But yeah, the focus definitely helps you get a little bit of sharper image. Not gonna be the sharpest image in the world, but it's gonna help you get a sharp image where it will be tolerable and watchable. So overall, I will be leaving the link in the description where you can actually buy this projector, and I think it's pretty decent overall. If you buy it, I definitely recommend it if you're looking for budget beginner friendly projectors. Like I mentioned again, this is not supposed to be an expensive projector. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you have a nice day.